Nobody
Well,
told me.
good one, I
That's what you said, you done told me that.
know.
First year we've had some bad storms, we've had power outages.
Corey, did you find the balance of those minutes? Okay. I know they're pretty easy. Today being a special call meeting, once we call a meeting to order, we'll follow the agenda as it's printed on the paper, and we'll only be able to discuss what's on the agenda. So, of course, we can't take any action while we're just sitting here talking, but we can sit here and talk about things. It's been a heck of a storm, and everybody's done a good job. In my opinion, the warming center, we had to have anybody last night, Robert. We did have someone stay a couple nights in our warming center, so it was good to have it open. Of course, we got another snow coming up. Should be all snow, maybe a fluffy snow, we hope. So just anyone in the room, you know, I mean, this is unofficial. Just we're all just talking as friends. Anyone in the room like to share anything about the storm or whatever? If not, then we'll go ahead and get the call meeting to order. So we'll call the meeting to order, a special call meeting, January 9th, 2025. I want to welcome everyone. As we always do, it's good to reflect on things. And if you would, Jim, would you open us in a word of prayer, please?
Father, we are grateful for this day you've given us and the time that we can come and discuss our county business. Father, a lot of people in the county right now, they're hurting because of the snow and ice. And Father, we just ask you to be with everyone and keep them safe, and be with our first responders, all of them, because they're out there on the roads all the time, and it's a dangerous job, Father. Just take care of them and keep them safe. Father, we ask that your blessings on people of California as they're going through probably a worse time than we're going through here, and just be with them and just get their lives back together the best you can. Father, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who came and died for us for forgiveness of our sins, and it's in this prayer we ask. In his name, amen.
If you would, join me in saluting our flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Squire Stump.
Here.
Squire Ferris.
Here.
Squire Eldridge.
Here.
Judge Travis.
Here.
Squire Travis.
Here.
Squire Cotton.
Here. All right, we're all here. I turn the mic on. All right. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the prior court meetings. The December 16th minutes are in your packet, with the exception of what Corey getting ready to read.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So we have the motion to go into executive session that's in there with the vote at 9:51. Motion to return from executive session, and the no decisions were made, was made by Judge Travis, seconded by Mike Stump, and that was at 10:41. Then the motion to adjourn was made by Mike Stump, seconded by Zach Cotton, 6-0 voice vote in favor at 10:42 p.m.
All right, so that'll complete the minutes that we're getting ready to approve. I didn't have anything to change.
Page 11 and 12. where Bill Jury addressed the court. There's 2 pages of this conversation. I don't know if that's necessary to have all that in there or not.
If you'd like to strike it, we can strike it out.
No, I would. Just
All that,
maybe we'll just leave it, Jim Schaefer and Mr. Jury address the court.
leave the first line,
The first sentence.
and then delete the rest all the way to the middle of page 12.
Correct.
Uh,
That's just my opinion, y'all. Whatever y'all want to do.
all right.
I agree.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 16, 2024 meeting with the deletion that was just made from page 11 and 12.
Second.
All right, have a motion by myself, second by Zach, to approve the minutes with the deletion of what was mentioned. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, the special meeting is on down in the book, 41. And I've had this over there all weekend, and took all the notes that I usually take. Been a lot happening over there. But anyway, there's the minutes for the special call meeting where we discussed about the ambulance and so forth. While we're approving the minutes, Corey, one, where we made the decision on the comp time,
Yes.
do we need to put that on agenda for another meeting?
We'll put that on the agenda for, the 16th, whatever the next regular meeting is.
Okay.
And I'll have a proposal on the comp time. What was voted last time was kind of unclear to me at the time, but then in reviewing it, you have to do 1.5 time for beyond 40 hours, because that's what comp time is, it's state law, so.
All right, so we'll discuss it next time. All right, so I'll entertain a motion on the minutes, unless someone has some changes.
Motion to approve the special call meeting of minutes.
12/19.
Well, 19.
All right. Have a motion by Zach, second by Jim, to approve the minutes of the special call meeting of December 19th. Any discussion?
I'm gonna recuse myself from voting because I wasn't here.
Okay, please let it be noted that Mike is going to not vote because he wasn't here. All right. Then the rest of us, all those in favor of the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes, it'll be 5.
So right now on comp time, then we need to treat it the way we've been doing.
For now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, communication judge executive, we talked a little about the storm. That's about it. Communications from citizens. Anyone in the audience like to address the court? All right, thank you. Next, Julie, zoning, readings and recommendations.
I have one first reading for you. That's the application of Betty Sue Mahaffey Estate requesting agricultural to Ag 2 agricultural on 7.05 acres located at 216 Chapman Lane. Commissioner Mudd made a motion to recommend to rezone the application of Betty Sue Mahaffey Estate requesting a zone change from Ag 1 agricultural to Ag 2 agricultural on 7.05 acres located at 216 Chapman Lane. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends medium density residential use. The change would be in compliance with the conference plan. There was one gentleman that was there to speak. His concerns was the subdivision coming in with it, which is not what the rezoning is all about. So Commissioner Osborne seconded that motion. After a roll call vote, motion carried. That is all I have.
Is the second reading date proper? It says 2/3, should be next meeting.
It should be well, it will be your next meeting, whatever that meeting date is.
Yeah, not February 3rd, it'll be January something.
January 16th, right?
Yeah, whenever our next meeting is.
I don't think it'll be advertised in time.
Well, it's already been advertised.
Oh, okay.
I have to advertise even before I do first reading.
Who's the?
So you may be right, I may have.
Yeah, it says fiscal court second reading, February 3rd.
I didn't get that.
I will look and see if I hit the right deadline for it. That could be
Okay.
why, it's because of the paper. I will look and see if, which days it hits the paper.
Okay, well, so do we, I mean, we can wait until, are they in a rush? I mean,
They're not in a rush, I mean, as far as that goes, but I mean, we just gotta follow regulations. I mean,
Correct,
what's
correct.
required, and I'm thinking, I typed this a week and a half ago, so I
Right.
have to go back and look at my dates.
yeah, I
A
got
lot of water under the bridge since then,
you. Yeah,
but, I'll see if it didn't hit the paper right or something.
okay, you know, once do it, you know, do it proper. We can wait until then, or if everybody's, Corey's in agreement, we need to do it next time.
Right,
Y'all
okay.
y'all figure out those.
Yeah, as long as we have the notice, we can discuss, but, yeah, so since the 20th is a holiday, it'd be moved to that Tuesday at 7 p.m., so the 21st would be the next regular.
Yeah, 121 at 17.
Let me look and see when it was gonna hit the paper. It may not hit the paper until this week,
Okay,
but I will look and get my dates straight.
yeah,
But I'm thinking there's a reason why I did that.
okay, other than
Okay.
accident.
Right, well, no, I mean, it may be May.
Well, and it's easy to accident. on
Exactly,
dates,
so, okay, I will check though.
All right, all
All
right.
right,
Thank, hey Julie, here's,
Yeah.
I was gonna get you this.
Okay.
I have a resident, one member resigned from planning and zoning, and I was giving her that letter, so we'll talk about that on down on the agenda. Second, and then again, I didn't write that, Danny Gilbert had a request, I guess it's page 55. He had a request to hire a deputy coroner, another additional deputy coroner. And I asked about, he thought that he had money in his budget. Doug and I have had some discussion about it. Do you have any numbers, Doug?
I know the only thing we budgeted is for one deputy and the coroner's salary, and then we do have another line item for coroner expenses where we end up having to buy body bags and different things like that at times.
How much is in
Vehicle
it? How much is in that account?
$1,500.
Okay. We've had some discussion about, well, in our office, Doug and I and Karen, we've had some discussion about if another person was on, could we pay them on a run, like a per run price?
I kind of misspoke, we budgeted $1,500, we've already spent $939 out of it.
No, so there's really not any money
So
there.
there's not money there to
Yeah.
even consider.
But, you know, we have a coroner and we have a deputy, and he'd like to get another deputy. And we have to make sure that we have the funding there. And I'm not in favor of us having two deputies and one coroner. If they can have, if he can stay within his budget, I don't have a problem with him getting as many deputies as he wants, I guess, but, I just, what you guys' thoughts on it?
My thought is that, I get text messages all the time from Bolton County Deputy Coroner. They're making a run in your county, making another run in your county, making another run in your county. If he wants another deputy, he needs to get rid of the deputy that he has that's not doing the job and hire another deputy that will do the job. But I'm totally against hiring another deputy.
I agree with Dan 110%. Danny and one deputy ought to be able to handle this, and if they can't, then he needs to find another deputy. He needs to have him and another guy, not add another person. Only be three.
Well, you know, if he wants to hire another deputy, I think he needs to come before the court and justify doing that. You know, instead of just saying, I want two deputies now, you know, what do they do? I mean, you know, how often are they called out? So I think we just hold off until at least, the budget comes up where we can, give money towards that.
Well, I think right now you got two guys doing Gagnon himself as deputy, and the job not being completed, because I don't know for what reason, but at what point are you throwing good money after bad? So I think we should just hold off.
I mean, we can choose to not act and move on, and I'll speak with him. So, everybody good with that?
Yep.
All right, I'll invite him back. Next, whole business appointment to the Board of Adjustments. On page 56, Nell Haney has, her term expired on January 1, and Julie had a recommendation for me, and I was one to present that name to the court today. Joy Thompson has agreed to serve on the Board of Adjustments, and if that suits everyone, then entertain a motion to appoint Joy Thompson to the Board of Adjustments to fill the balance of the Nell's term. That'd be best, Julie?
You would have to put her on for her own term because Annel's term expired.
It's already expired, okay. So when did the Nell, is it 4 years or 2 years?
4.
4
Zero,
years?
4.
All right, so it'd be like 2029. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. Good gracious. So, well, I'll make a motion to appoint Joy Thompson to the Board of Adjustments for a term starting now until the term would expire on January 1 of 2029.
Second.
All right, have a motion by myself, seconded by Zach, to appoint Joel Thompson to the Board of Adjustments for a 4-year term, expiring 1/1 of 29. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. So we got that done. Under new business, zoning appointments, Anthony Travis resigned at the end of December. So we'll have a position there. And then also Julie, Diane Fowl
Yeah, she's a city appointee.
has resigned already. So that's two vacancies currently.
Yes.
And all I wanted to discuss with you guys is we don't have to take any action right now, but think of some folks that, because we'll need a county representative, and I guess the city will come up with someone to fill that position. So, but think of some names, and we'll try to get these appointments put on. So,
And if I can, Judge?
yes.
I'd like to get somebody on the western end of the county. So we try to have people, in various areas. So he was in the western end of the county. I'd like to find somebody that direction. That way we've got people, from all areas of the county.
Let's see what I can do.
So, you're in, or hiring.
Yeah, all right.
So, all right, well, I just wanted to mention that. Next, top flight bond release. Well, let's see, it's on page 58, the phase 5 in top flight. Do you have any information on it?
I really don't, other than, once they've got the roads built, their lots are sold and built out at 50%, they can ask for that release,
On
so.
59.
Yeah,
Eric Jean wrote a letter saying that all the work has been completed up to Spencer County standards, and it's appropriate to release the bond.
Yeah, so,
I'll make a motion that we take the recommendation of our 2K4 and the road department to release the bond on phase 5 of top flight subdivision.
Second.
all right, have a motion by Jim, second by Mike, to take the recommendation of our engineer and our road foreman to release phase 5 in top flight, because the work's been completed. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Is phase 5 the road that goes out to Van Dyke Mill, that section right there?
Yes.
All right. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. So we'll get that taken care of. All right, next on the agenda is the sheriff 2025 salary cap. Andrew?
It shouldn't take long.
No, I'm gonna cut it really short. I appreciate each one of y'all coming in and, meeting with me as we prepare this budget. We finally got it finalized, I guess, this past Friday before the storm. But, I think it was very productive to speak with each of you and trying to answer your questions, just kind of getting everybody on the same page. You don't get lost in the weeds. Trying to do this here, and that's so much. So, I got everything in the PowerPoint there, it's pretty much what you have in your packets. I'll go ahead and kind of go towards the end there to the, I think, I'm sure y'all had enough time to look at all the bar graphs and all that type of stuff. And if you have any questions, we can always go back and slide to your PowerPoint. So, as you know, last year, our goal was to achieve, our objective was to achieve 24/7 patrol. I don't ever want to go back from that. Our county needs 24/7 service from our law enforcement. And primarily, all you have is us and the city, not some of the city here that support us. And I can't thank them enough for the amount of help they've helped us throughout the year. This past year and a half that I've been here, they've helped us out a ton out in the county. And we try to return that favor as much as we can in the city. But getting back to the numbers, I guess what we were asking for is 1.424321. And this is basically, goal for this budget is to hire 2 additional deputies to kind of fill the gaps, fix it where we're short. A lot of times we're operating with 1 deputy still. We're thinking about sick time, vacation, training, all that. We're trying to just fill the gap, especially during the busier times of the day and night. So our ultimate goal is to get 2 retired rehires. That's the, as far as our salary cap, that's the biggest savings we can get, as far as not having to pay retirement, not having to pay health insurance. So that's going to be our goal, is to try to hire 2. This budget's kind of based on hopefully hiring 1 by maybe March, and then trying to hopefully hire an additional by July. And then we're looking at getting 2 additional court security. We already have 1 in the process, and if he accepts, I think we can get him fairly quick. And as y'all know, the court security, would be reimbursed by OC. And we've been approved to hire additional like 20-some, but we're only asking for 2. I think 2 would get us where we need to be in the courts. We've already had a few instances this year where some drugs have been brought into our courts and trying to get them to the inmates. So we're working on getting the camera systems updated and having the court security deputy actually in a camera room where he's monitoring the cameras, monitoring the ins and outs and the inmates. So I think those 2 additional would be recommended. So
I'll make a motion that we approve the salary cap that the sheriff has presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Jim, second by Zach, to approve the salary cap of 1.424321. Is that what you, that's?
83 cents.
Yeah, and 83 cents. Motion by Jim, second by Zach. So now we'll open the floor to discussion.
Yeah, so, I know we did this last year with clerk's budget. So this is contingent, this budget's contingent on hiring 2 new deputies.
yes.
I say that, rather than take $1.4 million right now, we do the same thing we do with their budget and say, look, we'll give you the 1.1 million now, and we'll put the rest of it in, is going to be contingent on the hiring of new personnel. Then we'll release, you can come back and say, hey, I've got a new deputy. We'll release 50% of that extra money, and then when you got another new deputy, we'll release the other 50% of the new money. That way, the county doesn't have the 1.424 tied up right now. We still have the opportunity to invest that money until you actually need the money. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get
We're not, okay, it'd just be contingent on when you get the personnel and you actually need the money, then you can come back and say, I got them. Okay, we'll give you the additional 300 and,
When we come back like 4 times for each hire.
no, it'd probably just be one time for each hire. If you come back in and ask for, you say you've got somebody rehired, we don't have to go through the whole process again. We'll just say, okay, you asked for an additional 1.12 plus some change $1 million, or
But we'd have to look.
112 and some change additional dollars for your new employee, and we can vote on that.
I don't know, I think, the money still has to be earmarked,
Gotta be
spend it
paid.
anyways, so I don't know what's.
Well, it doesn't have to be earmarked if we're not approving it in the budget. It can stay in
That's true.
it can stay in a interest-bearing account until March, or whenever you get a new employee, and then we can transfer the money and release it.
Well, I'm wondering if we could approve it, but like currently, right now, release, can you approve it and then release a portion? And then we choose to release another portion?
Let me
I
ask
think
you a
it's
question.
all on our budget, so it's all gonna be approved as one figure, whether if he pays $1,400,000 for one deputy, or if he pays it to 20 deputies. I mean, once you all set the figure, it's up to him what he pays his deputies.
I mean, wouldn't you have to amend the budget like 4 separate times? You know, like each time I hired somebody, if we did it that way?
Well, I mean, like if you had to come back and ask for additional, it would be that process, like we've done in the past.
They've done that in the past. I mean, they've come back and asked for additional. I'm just saying that if we approve a budget of 1.1 million right now, then that leaves us the $324,321.83 to put in an account. It's not allotted, it's not part of the budget for the sheriff's department, it's just money that the county has.
Well, it would stay in the general fund.
Yeah, and then you come back and ask for the money when you get an employee, and
Because the 1.1 would be enough for next year with the additional course you're gonna put in place last year, all the insurance.
well, it would be until March.
Oh, I guess you're right on March.
We're not saying
that
we're gonna hold that money until December, it's just whenever you get the employee.
I
You
guess I
said you
just never
wanted to
thought
hire
of doing
someone
it that
in
way.
March, and then when?
What's that?
I said, you said you wanted to hire someone in March. and
I'm
then-
hoping to have somebody by March. It's a kind of a lengthy process to do all the background work and all that stuff and find somebody.
And when were you?
In
talking
July.
about The second part of July?
Say if you
I mean, if that
want-
process could be sped, like say you found 2 guys, you want to hire 2 guys tomorrow. if you-
Well, that's kind of how we got the budget, as far as this budget, how we got the figures down. We hired both these guys today, those extra months would make a difference, it would raise that number.
So I guess what we're saying is, what Dan's saying is that, you just go ahead and do what you wanna do as far as hiring 2 extra, and when you do that, come back to us and
Well, it's not too.
we're saying, we're gonna okay it.
I totally agree with hiring 2 new deputies, especially if we're hiring retired police officers at a discount rate, basically.
Right.
Well,
But,
the money's sitting in the general fund, I don't see why they don't just allot it, you're gonna give it to them anyways, because one of them just said it has to
Well,
sit in the general fund.
if we allot it, then we can't do anything with it. It
Yeah,
has
that's what it
to,
anyway,
it's
so if
kind
you take
of,
the general fund,
We'll
and
give
put it
it
in
to them
CD for 3 months, you're gonna get penalized more than you paid in the 3 months of pulling it
you
out.
don't have to put it in a CD, put it in a
As far as the court security positions, I think we should put them right rather quickly.
0.1%.
If we can fill the court security rather.
So there's four personnel assigned, 4 people, not just 2, 4.
Yeah, the two is supposed to do.
Yeah, 2 is court security, but comes up against the plus 2.
Do you think the 2 court security is enough? And I know you said you all think that's enough, but is that enough?
We feel like it'll be a major improvement.
Because I know, and I didn't know this when we did it, but Andrew's been informed that they'll pay for every metal detector. Is it three folks?
Yeah, basically, we have 3 micrometers, so our recommendation is having 3 people each one of those, which I think is kind of a little bit excessive over here. I could see 2, I agree with 2. The problem we have now with the number we have, you know, if somebody's at a micrometer by himself and has to go to the bathroom, and they're having to pull somebody from the court, or one of us from the road, you know, to leave him, that kind of thing. This is kind of a mess right now, the courts, you know, the way the court system's set up for buildings. Whenever we get the new building, I think that'll really help things.
I think I done said what I said.
You know, you're very confident that by March you would have a hire? Very
As
confident?
far as court security, we'll have one rather. As far as a deputy,
Yes.
I really hope to by March.
All right.
I don't have anybody like in my pocket right now that I'm expecting to hire.
Now, I know you showed us at a previous meeting on page 69 in y'all's packet. Y'all remember we had it up there. If you want to flip it to 69.
That ain't 69 on his.
The one that has, the one we saw a month ago. That has where you'd like to be, pay raises. You know, and I kind of remember, it seemed like we all agreed that we got to be competitive. Right there. That we have to be competitive, and the 1.1 doesn't address this at all. You needed, the 1.4 addresses this, in addition to the higher. So, you know, just if the 1.1, in my opinion, is just, it's not enough to meet this. So we have to expand upon
And it's
it.
calculated into the 1.4?
This is.
The 1.4, but not the
1.1.
Yeah, but the 1.1 is not a yearly, it's not like you're not gonna get any money for the rest of the year. The 1.1 is just saying, this is what you need right now. And then if you hire more people, then you're gonna need more money, and then we can transfer that money to the sheriff's budget.
See, we're open to do that at any time, because we don't know what type of emergency would come up, that we wouldn't have to take action.
Yeah, but if we tie up the $1.4 million right now, then that's it. It's in the sheriff's budget, and there's nothing that can be done with it.
I think, whatever budget that you agree on, whatever number it is, you don't give it to them anyway, they're gonna use all of it. Don't freaking matter, I don't think. I don't think it matters.
Trying to save us a few
Couldn't
dollars.
amendments go either way?
Well, I mean,
If
I
you
know what
add,
you're saying.
you add to or take away, if y'all had to amend the budget.
I would think it would.
I don't know if we can take away, but I don't know. That does, it seems like it'd be kind of a headache that way. I get what y'all trying to do. I'll do whatever I can to, you know, work with you also.
I mean, I agree with everything that you presented, but I just think that, you know, okay, you don't need that extra money right now. Who knows, you may not be able to find another officer for 6 months. Then that money, we could be gaining interest on it.
Do you have a figure that has those raises built into it? What's that?
That's the 1.4 they're doing.
No, 1.4 is the figure with the adding the deputies and stuff. What's the figure?
You talk about just raises, no,
You
not
give
hiring
your guys
anybody.
raises right now.
You have any kind of increase?
Just because the 1.1 doesn't give nobody a raise starting tomorrow.
Yeah, what would these raises cost, basically what he's saying?
Yeah.
You basically give them $1 an hour to
Yeah.
every deputy.
Yeah, we got the other benefits.
Well, I'm one, go ahead, Doug, I see you then.
You're approving two things. You're approving a salary cap, which needs to be put on the DLG form. And then you're also approving his budget of what he's gonna be turning over, which is gonna be showing what his receipts are and what his expenses are and what his, and technically his expenses. It's gonna be zero, and whatever his fees are that he's got that's gonna be turned over, it's gonna be the budget number. So I mean, right now with what he's asking for on the budget, to be approving $875,000 to be turned over to Spencer County. And then on the salary cap, he's asking for the $1,424,000.
I think the 875 is a very safe number. I'd say it's probably more than that.
And
You
then
said because
those
now
numbers
they're
will be
down.
used in the county's
I think
budget.
875 very
Deal,
safe.
deal, look at when we do our budgets for next fiscal year. So whatever y'all approve, that number will be basically put in next year's budget.
I think we should vote on the motion with the thousand.
I got something to say, I'll just let y'all talk about it. Mine'll be real quick. Sheriff presented his numbers. I've ran some numbers. I'd like to present them to you guys. As I said in previous couple meetings, we have been very giving county-wide with every department that's trying to bring things up to snuff, up the road department, recycling center, parks, and whatnot. And now that COVID money's gone away and things to that nature, we're gonna have to start tightening the belt and figuring out where we can save. And the thing is, you gotta rob Peter to pay Paul, but the problem is, Peter's about half broke too. And here's some numbers that I came up with. In the past 8 years, like he presented to you, CADed incidents, they have CADed incidents of 7,076, what you call CADed runs. 8 years ago, in 2016, they had 5,509, which means that their CADed runs has increased by 27% in 8 years. In the same 8 years, the salary cap's increased by 57%, 30% more than the call volume. But their fee pool and earnings has increased by, on average, of 7.4% a year. In the past 2 years, according to the census website, which my numbers jive with the chief deputies there, from 2022 to 2024, there's only been a 3% population increase in Spencer County. But the salary cap increase in the last 2 years has been 55%. The county revenue, which I got these numbers from Doug, all the money that we have to operate on from the year over the last 2 years is only increased by 7%. Mainly because of money that we got in the bank. A lot of that is a lot of interest and stuff that we're collecting off a lot of money that we are starting to spend. We have spent over the last 2 years, and Doug has told me that we should expect that 7% number to not continue, probably, because we don't have a lot of this money in the bank collecting interest. And so our money we're bringing in is only increasing by 7%, but we've increased our salary cap by 55%. In 2024, last year, we gave them $1.1 million salary cap. If they stay just where they're at right now and no changes, it's gonna take 1.2. And I'm saying this as a previous law enforcement officer. This is not against law enforcement, this is not against emergency services. If it was EMS, recycling center, road bar, I don't care. I love policing, I love it, I love it, I love it, and I appreciate everything that you guys do, and I understand the hell that y'all go through, especially in today's time. For the reason that I'm not in it anymore. But as I was meeting with the sheriff around the first of the year, a lot of this is these, I know that we don't want to be a revolving door of personnel. But the fact remains, we don't have the money. And
it keeps going up every year. And now it's getting to the point where it's exponential. We thought it was crazy when we gave them out 105,000, and then we thought it was crazier when we agreed on 1.1 million. And now we're coming back in asking for $300,000 in a year's time. Which, and you know, I mean, that's like I said, if you look at it, from money we got coming in, the rate is coming in, 7% increase, 55% going out. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna get rid of the Parks Department? Are we gonna get rid of the recycling center? None of those things make us money either, because it's things that our taxpayers expect us to have. It won't be too long, Rob will be asking for another ambulance, a couple of years. We have to figure out how to start mitigating expenses, or this county is gonna be broke in 5 years. Because we're spending it out. Just gave you the percentages. It's going out five-fold, 5 times faster in some areas than what it's coming in. And I know that the sheriff says, well, we're increasing our fees, so it's not costing you as much money because we're collecting more money. But still, the thing is, if you bring in $900,000 in fees, but you're asking for 1.4 million in just the salaries, you're still costing us $500,000. And that's if you hire more people, then it's not just the salaries, you got more cars, you got more benefits, you got more gas, you got more uniforms, equipment and stuff. And I want them to have everything that they have. But we have to figure out, where do you draw the line in the sand? And say, look, if we give you what you want, then we're not gonna be able to buy another ambulance. If we give you what you want, Ray Jewel 2.0 is shot dead right now. If we give you what you want, there will not be any improvements to the road department. And I know the park's probably essential, but the road department's gonna need some more stuff. We buy equipment from them every day. EMS is getting bigger and bigger. Their rock call volume is increasing too. Robert comes in here with the same argument that Andy does. And we have to make hard decisions with Robert. We have to make hard decisions with everybody. Now, I don't know what the answer is. I don't think they need, we can't afford, it's not what I think they need. We can't afford to give $1.4 million. Now, we need to figure out what that number is, but it's not $1.4 million. We have to save where we can.
I have an observation on a couple of your notes. You said the total budget's up 7%.
That's what Doug gave me yesterday.
And then their salary cap's up 55%.
But the salary cap's up 55% over 8 years. We've increased our revenue over 2 years, that's 7%.
Well, that makes my argument even better. If we've increased our revenue 7% over 2 years, that's a big number, because that's 7% of the budget. 7% of what?
Well, you've only increased the budget by $700,000.
Yeah, but we got a $12 million budget. 7% of $12 million is a whole lot more money than
It's
55%
it's
of $100,000.
You've increased your budget in 2 years by $700,000, that's your 7%. $797,000, so it's roughly $400,000 a year.
But what you see what I'm saying, 55% of a little number versus 7% of a big number is a big difference.
The salary cap in 8 years has only increased by $400,000. Or, no, I mean,
In 8 years, it's increased 55%.
well, I mean, their fee pool over 8 years has only increased by a little less than $400,000.
But you said that's 55%.
I
think he's changing what he's talking about something.
Yeah.
Than what you are.
Well,
The fees that they take in is increased by $400,000.
The numbers I give him were what our general fund receipts were for the total. That included surplus, all general fund receipts. That was the numbers that he's basing, that I gave him on what we had for the last 2 budget years.
I know this, in 2016, the sheriff's office brought in $538,000 in some change in fees. their salary cap was $702,000. Those figures are pretty close. But now, that means within 200,000.
Well, just, I mean,
But now we're gonna be within $500,000, because they're gonna bring in 900,000, but their budget's gonna be 1.4. It's growing, that gap is growing, that's the part I'm talking about.
$500,000 just our insurance and benefits and all that just out right off the top of our budget.
Yeah, that's something you can't do with your numbers there. It's
Again, I'd like to propose that we do 1.1 million, which is plenty enough money. It lasted the whole year last year, so surely it can last for 6 months until we get more deputies. If it doesn't, then the the extra $300,000 ain't gonna matter anyway. So that way we can say, hey, okay, do what you say you're gonna do, hire the new deputies. You hire the new deputies, then you can come back and ask for the money to pay for the new deputies. And, in the meantime, we got $300,000 in a interest-bearing account that we can at least make some money off of.
What's our interest bearing checking account? Do we have one?
yeah, it is, it's down to probably below 2 now.
Yeah, but there are plenty of accounts, and I've told you this before, I got money in a Marcus account, it's down from the 6% it used to be, but it's at 4.1%. It's federally insured, you could take the money, if you put the money in there today, you could take it out tomorrow. They don't, with no penalties. So, those kind of accounts are out there that will pay a higher interest rate.
The internet accounts, something like
No, Marcus is Goldman Sachs, which is the largest.
I have learned, and I'm not disagreeing at all with you, it's easier to do that privately than it is government entity-wise. Maybe the right person hasn't convinced me otherwise, but.
Well, you know, I believe if we do what Dan is saying, then, you know, we're kind of tying Andrew's hand behind his back. Because, say, he hires 2 new deputies in the this year, fiscal year. And then we sat here and agreed, okay, we'll put the extra money in there when we need it. But what happens if a really bad emergency comes up? If we don't have that money, then even verbally we agree to give it to you. So you got 2 deputies that you can't afford to pay because you don't have the money. So I say we give him what he wants, and whatever's left over is going to come back to us anyway.
You know, it's hard to stay in the budget. You know, I looked at the staff that the chief deputy gave me here, that if they stay currently what they got with no changes, $1,204,843. Now, we can see that $40,000 of that figure was added into there due to our increase in health insurance that they gotta pay in and this, that, and other. Which would still mean if they were fully staffed like this for the entire last year, they blew their budget by about $160,000. So if you give them 1.4 million, we just say they ain't gonna, are we gonna go back down this road again, come back in November, and say, well, if I live $100,000, we have to let everybody out for Christmas?
Well, I would like to, if I may, one thing I've noticed, and I hope you all have all noticed too, what's the first thing you saw when you turned the TV on New Year's morning? New Year's Day morning? I think there's more nuts in the world that have, since we're talking as opinions right here, I think there are people in the world that do not understand consequences, eternal consequences. People are doing things, we have to have manpower on the road. If you look in the Spencer Magnet, y'all look at it, at the circuit court, folks that are in trouble, that got caught, that you all arrested, that are in court. Look at how many of them are out of this county. They're coming in here pushing drugs. Now, I know that it's always been the case, but when there's 2 pages of them, we got to keep that out. During the night when this craziness is happening, this illegal activity is happening in the night, and and one officer comes up on the scene out in the county somewhere, he needs backup, he or she needs backup fast. So, again, we've been, and I hope the court agrees, we've been playing catch-up. Now, I know some will think that they should be caught up enough, but there's still catch-up needing to go on here. That slide that was on there, we've gotta get the hay caught up to keep our folks working here in town.
And we wouldn't have anybody here if we were still what we was at, 15 and 16, it's happening everywhere. Just that happened in Spencer County. All these agencies have gone up, they're trying to retain their people.
And our budget going up 7% in 2 years, I think that's a good number, in my opinion.
If you're 1.2, you get by with, that has no raises figured in either, correct?
The 1.2 is just where you are now with the additional cost of insurance and the cliff and stuff.
What I'm saying, I'm not
I get
saying.
what you're saying.
We're gonna, I'm saying that, okay, I agree, we need 2 new deputies. We don't have them right now, so why should we be paying for them right now?
Well, look at those collective
You know,
evaluations.
Well, it is anyhow.
That's what I'm saying. So
Whether we put it in there or don't, it's still in the interest bearing account.
It's still, okay, so if we line item that money, just $1.4 million for the sheriff's department, we can invest that money?
It's already invested.
But if we line item it, can we invest it, or is it locked in?
Technically, we've done the same thing with the CGs that we've done on the others, kind of been invested, but, there's times where we have so many more expenses, maybe, but just like in the last month, we got a lot more money from the sheriff's office because a lot of their fees come from collecting property taxes. There's not gonna be a whole lot of receipts now until next year on property taxes. I mean, he's gonna have fees, but things, so I mean, it's, that's a good thing with everything being in the general fund. Sometimes shortfalls in the ambulance or shortfalls with the sheriff or recycling, whatever, we can transfer the money around if we need to, but we're gonna have to budget it, whatever number y'all come up with.
I move to amend the motion by striking out the previous figure and entering in $1.3 million. I think that's a fair number. It's an increase by $200,000 over last year, and it's a little give on there.
All right. Second.
Bowser, is that gone with like?
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
All right. Motion dies for lack of second.
I'll amend the motion to approve a budget of $1.1 million today. And that, like I said, that if we hire more deputies, then, but Jim, to your fact, you said, okay, what if we have an emergency?
This is the
Okay.
salary cap, not the budget.
So if we lock in $1.4 million, then we have a big emergency 6 months from now? You said, well, then we're not gonna have that money to give to the sheriff's office, but we're not gonna have that money to give to an emergency, because it's locked into the sheriff's budget. So.
Well, what do you do if you're the sheriff's department then? Because your word is your word. You don't say, hey, I'm gonna give you $400,000 if you
Well,
need it. and then
we're
something
saying
comes up,
that
sorry, guys, lay
it's
your guys
gonna
off.
be, if he comes
Your word
back
is
and
your
asks for
word.
money to pay for another deputy, you gotta weigh what's more important. We have a big emergency, what's more important? We gotta take care of the big emergency, okay? So if we don't have that money to take care of the big emergency, then we're gonna have to go find somewhere to get that money, borrow it or something. Where if we have it in the bank,
Money will be-
waiting on the new deputy, then that money's available to us. So I say, like I said, the salary cap of $1.1 million, and then whenever they hire a new deputy, they can come back and ask for the 50% of the additional amount that they need for that deputy.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of second. We now still have the original motion on the floor, and,
I think we're just beating this to death question.
all right, question's been called for. So we will now proceed to vote on the motion, which was to approve the salary cap of the 1.424,321.83. All right, we'll now call for a vote. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please.
Squire Cotton,
Yes.
Squire Stump,
No.
Squire Ferris,
No.
Squire Eldridge,
Yes.
Judge Travis,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
Yes.
All right, motion passes 4-2. All right. So we have that portion,
Now you also need to approve the budget of where the receipts gonna be.
with
From the
875.
sheriff, they, 75.
All right. We'll stay up here and talk about the
That's the
estimated budget.
The estimated budget of 875 for the fee collection.
All right, what do you see as far as how they could change? Hopefully upwards.
Well, just the two hires, additional court security, that's gonna probably get us there pretty easily. That's probably gonna be another 30 to 40,000 in fees. I don't know what, I guess a lot of it, maybe the big increase this year is probably where the property valuation is gonna increase. I'm assuming that's probably still gonna be going on.
Of course, that even took into effect what we lost at Shelby County.
Right. So I can only imagine it's going, 875 is a very safe number. I would, I'd say probably over 900,000 in fees this year.
How long does it take you to get reimbursed for those from the state?
The ALC, the reimbursement, they come to us direct.
It goes back in the general fund monthly. Everything comes out of our salary cap, and then it goes back to you all. It's like a monthly deal.
Month, okay, right. So it doesn't take like FEMA, 6 years or 2 years?
Right.
It's on a rotation.
AOC is monthly or CLEP and all that stuff.
So that really
gets reimbursed back.
doesn't concern your budget that much?
Well, yeah, it does.
It comes out, but it doesn't go back in. That's the problem.
It goes back to the general fund.
Like last year, this past year, we added 2 additional court security, because of course, Judge Brummer was requesting that we added 2, and we didn't figure on that, and that comes out of the budget, but doesn't go back into it, we get reimbursed, so
So where's that money go?
it goes back to the general fund.
General fund, okay.
Are there any other, the jump from last year to this year is nearly 100,000. What, do you anticipate, could you anticipate another 100,000 jump?
As far
Close
as
to
the fees,
100,000 in your fees, yes.
yeah, I mean, very well. Very well.
But so the 1.4 million included the 2 new court security officers and not the fact that you're gonna get reimbursed for them, because that money's not coming to you?
Yeah, I can't count that as reimbursement to me, because
Okay.
Goes back to general fund?
it goes back to the general fund. That's a,
It's a big negative that comes back to us, that comes out of this.
yeah.
I think, we did a budget amendment, here not long ago for $1 million of excess money unanticipated, like
Yeah.
property taxes, just from the growth.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of growth out there right now. Get outside your districts, it amazes me,
Oh,
in Oakland, how many houses are coming up out of the ground right now. Not just in the subdivisions either, they're spotted all over. And so we're gonna see probably that much unanticipated income coming in sometime during the budget year, next year or so.
yes, yeah, I believe so. I know my property tax bill went up, I guess they kind of caught to me this year. I know those others got affected last year.
We told them to stay at that way.
Yeah, that's the wrong direction.
Well, think about, I know right now, like out in Old South, there's more than a dozen houses in the quarry behind you that's for sale. And hopefully, when we get inhabitants in all those, there's probably 5 million worth of assets sitting there, just on that one street. So 35 million anyway.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
We need a motion to approve the sheriff's budget of $875,000.
Yeah, so moved.
All right, motion by Zach, is there a second? Second by Will to approve the $875,000 sheriff's budget. All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, next on,
Might make note on that too, one where, you know, like the opioid money, where we're spending the money on things that we're writing a check to their fees from the opioid account to go to their fees, so that makes that go up a little bit. The
Yeah,
additional
sure.
money from the port security, when he hires more people there, there's gonna be more fees come in. And property taxes going up, there will be more fees there too, so.
Yeah, we'll be able to kick out all of our liens, now, with that new amendment to the LC, so.
And the one he showed here, last year we put in the budget $680,000, that was his budget number. This year we'll be able to use $875,000 as a receipt.
okay,
And then we actually received during the last year, I guess it's $830,000. We hadn't got the check for December yet, but it'll be
Right.
to that 830, so.
all right. Next,
Well, every year.
Yeah.
Pass some of them.
next on the agenda is the clerk's salary cap and budget. So turn it over to you, Lynn.
I'm asking for the same thing I asked for last year. What page in the book it is?
Page 76, yeah, asking for 397,
497.
or 497. And,
What was your salary cap past year?
391, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
and how much of that was used? I didn't bring that sheet with me, Doug, I left it over there on the desk.
75% through December,
Now the total of how much?
295, 155, 96.
How much?
295,155.96.
You know, the biggest, well, I know she's got more staffing than she had this time last year. If I had to say one thing, though, I hear a lot of grumbling from my constituents that the clerk's office isn't open during lunchtime. Because a lot of people take their lunch breaks and they want to pay their car tags and stuff like that.
It's not just judge's office, planning and zoning, they all, sheriff's office.
But there's a lot of people, there's a lot more traffic of people doing stuff in the clerk's office, that, you know, and, well, I think this has been a point of contention for the last few years. And I would be, I don't know if I'm on board for the 497, but I'm on board to give an increase maybe from last year, if we can get an agreement from the clerk that it'll be open during lunch. So people that are working can come pay their tags and do what they need to do, the clerk's business during lunch hour. If she's fully staffed, I don't think there's a reason why you couldn't rotate people and still keep the door open for some people to come in during lunch. But I think in the position that we're in, and this is all about negotiating, I think I'd be willing to give more than what she had last year's good faith, if she's willing to commit to staying open during lunchtime to better serve people that need it.
Lynn, your increase of $100,000, what's that based on?
I plan on hiring more administrative staff. I don't have an administrative assistant. I need someone in the deed room, and I have needed somebody in the deed room full-time. I don't have that, so it would be extra staffing and raises.
You have a full staff in now or no?
As of January 2nd.
So would that include
That's 5 frontline deputies. That's
Yeah,
no
that's what I was
administrative
just talking about, people up front. You wanna add 2 more people,
staff. I
correct?
do, yes, sir.
Lynn, do you wanna stay open during lunch?
I'm not going to make any promises, Mr. Stone.
Okay. I addressed you a second ago, I didn't hear a response, so I was just wanting to make sure.
I think the voters of this county are the ones that judge the service that they receive in the office. And I will do whatever I can to provide that service, but I'm not making promises in order to get more money. I think that's just not, it's not proper.
I don't care about the more money thing, but that's like beating a dead horse. We've talked about it a bunch, and I brought it up last year. If you got a full staff, there's no reason you shouldn't be open for lunch. But I'm not trying to leverage the money, but while we're talking about it, I mean, it's, you got 5 people, 2 people can go to lunch, 3 people can stay there, and vice versa.
You used, what, $2.95 last year, Doug?
Probably a little over 3, wasn't it? Once you figure December.
295, 1,155.96 for the 12 months of December. Of course, I mean, that number would go up a little bit probably based on some of the health insurance changes and all we're doing too.
Do you have those numbers right, what it would cost you for 2 extra staff and insurance and stuff? You have not calculated that?
I have not, I'm thinking probably between 40 and 55 of insurance.
Per employee,
And
so
that's,
that's 110, and then a little bit, you can get pay raises in your office.
yes, I am giving pay raises.
You know about what that would cost with everybody?
No, I haven't calculated that yet.
You know, back on the stand open lunch, you know, that's a problem for a lot of people, not just your office, but all the county government offices do the same thing. And like in the judge's office, we've got what, 5 people there now?
No.
4?
No.
3?
Hopefully 3.
Okay. I'm not talking about just today, I'm talking about normal business hours. You know, I don't see any reason why. your
3 and
office-
4. 3 and 4.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, they work from 8:30 to 4:30, right? They get paid for their lunch, you know, do you have to close the doors for an hour? I just don't see it. I'll give you a prime example here, a year ago.
No, I mean, they don't get paid
They,
during lunch.
well, they're on the salary, they get paid, but, I came down to pick up something at the judge's office and just didn't pay any attention, forgot about they were closed. I got there about 15 minutes after 12. I sit right over there in the parking lot watching. 12 people in 45 minutes went to your door, and it was locked. 12 people. And, that's just your office. Same with sheriff's office, you know, same with Lynn's office. And I think we're getting a habit, I mean, the fiscal court can't control, her hours when she's open, and the sheriff's office, you know, the people, but the rest of them, you know, when, recycling closes for lunch, you know? I mean, to me, you know, years ago, all businesses in Taylorsville was closed on Wednesday because they were open on Saturday. You know, I mean, you come here Wednesday, back in the 60s and 70s, it was dead, you know, because they chose to be closed on Wednesday. Now, are we going backwards, you know, where we are now? I think the citizens deserve all county offices to be open all day, period.
I agree.
The last year was $391 and we used $295.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, you know, you leveraging money as much as you just, I used this earlier, you know, it's like, I don't feel like that there's gonna be an improvement with those extra funds, which I think the main improvement that people want is people being open during lunch, and what am I throwing money at?
You know,
I wish we knew them numbers.
see what, I'll make a motion that we approve, the county clerk's budget, or salary cap at $391,000, that's what she asked for last year.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion?
I would just bring up the same point I brought up last time. If you hire more staff, then come back and ask to pay those staff. So it's, I mean, I think it's just fiscally responsible for the county to try to save as much money as we can and not just put it in the line items that we don't know whether we can afford in the future or not. So,
Well, you know, like Doug said, these salary caps for the sheriff and the county clerk, it's gotta go to the Frankfurt to be okay, and we gotta have a number on it. And if we put, $295 for whatever, you know, that's not enough, you know, there's no guarantee that the court's gonna give her more money, even though she's in a deficit, you know, down the road. So we have to have a number plugged in there, whatever it is. And just like $295 is what you actually spent this past year, you know, it comes back to us in excess fees. Anyway, I know we're using that money, we can't, but it's still all in general fund anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the 191 or 196,000 still sitting in the bank. We budgeted 391 last year, and she spent 295.
We budgeted
Well, no, not
391.
100, it's just that much. We still got that sitting in the bank.
You know, I think we have to make sure that every one of our, the clerk and the sheriff has enough money in there for the year, where they don't come up short. I'd rather see them, in my checkbook at home, December the 31st, I want to see a plus sign there, not a red mark minus, you know, when you do your own budget. So, same case here.
that's why my checkbook gets low. I move money from my savings account into my checking account. That's what I'm saying.
It's a lot easier for you to do that than it is for her to do that, you know.
Well, one thing to remember is they can't spend over their salary cap. If they do, they may be responsible personally, the sheriff and the clerk. So that's why the number that y'all approved, you know, is gonna make a difference on what they do, how many people they hire, maybe how many raises, all the different factors in that regard.
Lynn, can you talk about the raises? You know, how many do you have that are lower that you want to raise? You know, how many do you have that you think are where they need to be,
I've just hired 2 brand new people, so they are at the bottom.
which is
They hired in at $18 an hour.
18, okay.
It was lower than that, but to get employees.
Right, and I understand that.
And you've
I
all given
understand that.
raises
I understand that.
multiple times to yourselves each year and others to the employees. I would like to get them up to about 22 or 23 an hour.
Okay. Now, is part of your staff at that level?
Laura is, she's got 21 years of experience.
Yes, yeah,
So she should be where she's at.
okay. But, and then,
How many people you got total now?
I have 5.
yeah,
Right now you got 5?
I have 5.
So you
As
got
of
4
January.
that you're wanting to raise up roughly, or to give
3, if you get hired too.
yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
No, my plan was to hire 2 more people, start them at 18, and, you know, depending on how they perform, I give performance raises, I don't give across the board. If they take on more responsibilities, which they have to because we're a small office, you know, I want to get them up around 20-ish, 22-ish. Some counties have motor vehicle departments, a whole motor vehicle department. Some counties have recording departments. Some counties have lien departments. Some counties have election departments. Our office is small, so everybody has to do multiple things. So they have to be trained. I mean, they just don't sit and answer the phone. They have to be trained on multiple different processes. We came through CADIS, which was a debacle that was unleashed on us in January. We've had a very, very hard year, but we persevered, and we continue to serve the people of this county and serve them efficiently and courteously. We have people who've moved here from Jefferson County. We're all talking about how much growth there's been. People from Jefferson County come in and we get compliments all the time on how fast and how efficient our office is. So, you know, we're doing, I'm not even gonna say anything else because I knew this would happen and I have nothing else to say.
Well,
I don't.
just since you knew this would happen, in my opinion, if you paid attention to Andrew Ware's what he presented, you know, you come in here and ask for, you say you're gonna give all this stuff, but there's no information here, you know, that might be a good thing to do in the future, in my opinion, just to help us, because I mean, I'm looking at nothing, I had no idea what you're gonna do with the extra money, other than what you just guessed at, so.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for the 391, which is the same as last year. Any other discussion on that? If you would, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Judge Travis,
Yes.
Squire Travis.
Yes.
Squire Cotton,
Yes.
Squire Stump,
Yes.
Squire Ferris,
Yes.
Squire Eldridge.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. All right, next we have the budget, our budget number.
The correct number is 714, it's on the DLG form.
Yeah, 714-702. All right.
My office pays for itself.
Yeah, and that's great. We had that discussion in the past already, so, we'd like you to pay more though, if you can. Do you foresee any, anticipated revenues, kinda like we asked the sheriff? You know, that would come up, you know, that would raise that price?
I have a question. On page 77 and 78, there's two forms. They have different numbers on them.
That's correct. The first form is incorrect. The one was 710. That was last year's
So
budget.
which one is correct?
The one that's on the DLG form, that's 714-702.
It's page 78.
Yeah, that's what I say. 78 is correct. The other-
The 710, 747 is what y'all approved last year as the budget. But just be 24 or instead of 25.
All right. All right, so at this time, I entertain a motion to approve the clerk's budget of the 714-702, or I guess that'd be the number.
So moved.
All right, I have a motion by Dan, seconded by Mike, to approve the clerk's budget of the 714-702. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, on the agenda next, the smoke detectors. We don't have any thing to add to that, other than if y'all remember, we had a house burned last fall, I guess, everybody's out, up on Bloomfield Road, and a fellow passed away. And I know the sheriff's, the Taylorsville, Spencer County Fire Department was giving out smoke alarms. And so we've had some discussion during cold weather about smoke alarms, and we all know how important they are. And some communities have ordinance where you are made to, and I personally aren't a big fan of telling people stuff they got to do, or you like to limit that anyway. But then at the same time, you've got to look out for public safety. So in the future, we don't have anything today, so I just want to bring it up. You all think about it, and if you see the fire chief or Robert, ask him opinions on it, and down the road, we may bring it up and discuss it.
And what is that again?
Well, some places you are made by ordinance, you know, to have smoke alarms.
Smoke detector?
And yes, Dan may have something to go with that.
Well, local methods, you're required to have smoke detectors. Now, as a caveat to that, if we're gonna require smoke detectors, then we ought to continue to do, like the fire department and that, we ought to hand out smoke detectors. I'm not saying somebody should be able to come in and get a dozen smoke detectors, but we ought to be able to, we should hand out free smoke detectors to families that don't have one, or the property owners that don't have one.
I think the fire
We
department does it now.
do that now. Our
Fire department does, yeah, but I'm just saying that we don't want to create an ordinance to say you have to have a smoke detector, and then the fire department 1 year says, we're not handing out smoke detectors.
Well, I don't think it's the responsibility totally of the fire department to give out smoke detectors. If we had an ordinance saying apartment complex.
That's what I'm saying, we ought to add that into our ordinance, that,
That's on the owner's budget, to put those in, not the fire department.
Well, anything new has to have smoke detectors.
I think you can get free smoke detectors now just about anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, fellas, I just think it's kind of dipping your toe in something that we shouldn't be dipping our toe in.
You know, everybody, I'm like you, Mike, on that, I think, we're on everybody needs a smoke detector, but I'm not in favor of us policing, you know, how you gonna police somebody that don't?
Well, right, and at the end of the day, I mean, each person has their own, I mean, as a person that's alive, has their own responsibility to themselves and their family, to keep themselves safe. Who are us to step into somebody's home and tell them what, you know, are we gonna pass ordinance next year and say you gotta have 2 blank little papers instead of 1?
I don't think fiscal court can do that on a private residence, but on a commercial property where there's people going in and out all the time, then, yeah.
Well, we have building codes for that, we have building codes now, right?
Do they include smoke detectors though? So in
New
apartment
construction,
building,
most
any,
definitely.
I agree with any building where you have multiple residences, like apartment buildings or any county building or any private business, then we should require it because,
Well, you know, I think we're looking at something we don't have to because the state, is already requiring that. You know, like any new, residence that's built now, the electrical code says you gotta have a wired smoke detectors. You want them to be bedroom, outside, blah, blah, blah. It's spelled out in the building code, state building code. So, and same thing with apartment complexes, yes. So I think it's something that we shouldn't even be concerned with because the state's already got laws.
You should put some awareness out there a couple times a year. If we want to do one time a year, offer smoke detectors for people, I think it'd be a good.
or offer batteries.
Here, I got-
That's the biggest issue.
Get a smoke detector, people, have a smoke detector.
It'll work, Mike, but I
I
agree,
agree,
we had,
public service announcements, you know,
Yeah.
hey, come get your free 9-volt battery or,
You can't afford one, we'll get you one.
yeah, smoke detector.
We'll come put it up.
yeah, but again, with the cold weather and winter time, if you see the fire chief or you see, Robert, discuss with him and just, we can talk about that some more down the road, so. But that's all, no action on that. Next, you have the invoices, bills, and transfers. If you wanna go through them, let's start on page 80 and continue on. The,
There's a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody else does. On page 81, okay, we've got a whole page of invoices for Amazon, okay? If you look at them, a lot of it is, you know, paperwork, this and that. It's across the board. But there's one shipping fee right down there for
$41.
$41.91 for these 32 items. All right, flip over to page 83. And the county clerk can address this, because I think this was for her office. You've got Donna Rhodes Company. There's 4 items there, and there's 4 different shipping charges of $542 on these 4 items. And they're paper products, and they're not heavy, so why, I mean, is Donna Rose Company the only company in the state that you can get these supplies from?
She does our personalized stationery.
Yes, but I
And
mean,
it is heavy. I was told if we had a shipping dock, they could ship it all in one shipment, but we don't, so we couldn't get all of it up to the office. That's why the shipping charges are like that. They did discuss that with me.
well, I think that's excessive, really. You know, when you've got Amazon, which is paper products and a lot of other stuff too, at, what was it, the total? $6,400 and we have a $42 shipping fee. And on yours, at $7,182, we've got $542 shipping. It just doesn't make sense to me that we're paying that much shipping for basically paper product, even though we're heavy, blah, blah, blah.
Would you say that you might want to shop it around a little bit, see if there's a place that can provide the same product and less shipping fees?
Again, that's gonna be on the clerk to do that, but I just wanted to point that out. Liz, if we do that I mean, how often do you order that many supplies,
It's over
7,000?
a year.
A year?
Over a year.
You ordered for a year, so you won't see any of these back on for the next year.
Do you use this many a year, Lynn? 4,000, that's the vinyl holders that we put our tags and stuff in, and we put in the dash in our trucks that has your name printed on them. All right, and then these document holders are paper that do the same thing, have your name on them.
We only use 4,000 of those a year.
That's the last time I ordered them was a year ago, and I ordered the same quantity that I ordered a
Do
year
more.
ago.
Oh, yeah, we got 20,000 people.
What, all right, let me ask you this, why would you have 4 different shipping charges if all this is delivered at the same time?
It wasn't delivered at the same time.
Okay, could it not be delivered at the same time?
If we had a shipping dock, it could be delivered at the same time.
Do you have room to store all this for a year?
I do.
Okay? Then there's not manpower to take those boxes off the truck and put them in your storage wherever? I mean, I think the judge would let Parks Department or whoever,
I mean, we
get people to unload them and, you know.
these have already been ordered, right, Lynn? And you've already got them? Okay, so, but I mean, like, next year, we could, if they all did come on a pallet, we can unload a pallet anywhere and then get them to her and save that amount.
Well, you still want to have shipping charges.
Well, but she said, since we don't have a dock, that she could order them and have them all on one skid.
We got
Well,
one.
we got shipping docks.
We got one.
So, but anyhow,
Recycling. Yeah.
but, all right.
But anyway, just another.
Now I know Victoria's here to talk about some, come on up, talk about some of these, charges in the invoices.
Yeah, so we've
And
been
Rachel,
working,
hi Rachel.
we've been working a little bit with Elk Creek on the invoices and kind of getting the system set up. The way their invoices was, if 2 dogs went in on the same day, both of those dogs got one invoice number. And then a total charge from that with our discount. So now we kind of got things rolling a little bit smoother where each individual animal has their own invoice number. And our discount is taken off of each individual invoice. Right now, I mean, that's who, we've still kind of been utilizing. When there was a few cats coming in, we would utilize Salt River. We did have some cats that had to go back because they were cheaper on the cats. They did have to go back for another visit, and by the time that they go back for 2, 3 visits, then you might as well have taken them and got them, the right medication in the first place. So we have not had to do any more cats recently, but I mean, as far as the dogs we got, I know that everybody, y'all have personal pets, vet care is expensive. I mean, that's just the way it is. We don't have any other places in our county that can sustain the number of animals that we have come through at one time. I pulled our numbers from the shelter manager site, and, we did 91 animals for the whole year. 22, we did 97. So 23, we did 111. So it's been around 100 animals a year. Well, this year alone, our numbers are at 300. And these people Taylorsville's growing, we all know that. But there's people coming out of Louisville. We pick up a ton of dogs out by the Schultz Lane area, dogs that are brought over the county line and dropped out of the car because Spencer County is considered a no-kill shelter. So, the public does see that and say, if I take my dog over there and they have to pick it up, then, you know, they're not gonna put it to sleep, which thankfully, we haven't had to do anything like that. Me and Rachel's been pretty good about getting them in and out. Getting them to rescues, getting them adopted, getting them vetted. But as right now, we're kind of just, it's a waiting game. We don't have any other places that are offering the spay and neuter right now. The Humane Society was able to do a couple of our animals here and there. They have not had an active vet since August. So we are, yeah, we're waiting, I mean,
She's on maternity leave.
yeah, well, they're looking for a new one.
Since August? Okay, on
I don't think that she's gonna be coming back because they're looking for somebody to,
you know, last month we had $6,000 or so for vet bills. And a lot of those were kittens. And I believe that you would have like, on the invoice, it'd say kittens and you'd have like 5 parentheses.
so it's a litter.
The
that
litter.
goes in.
So when you get a litter of kittens,
Mhm.
why do you take those to the vet? Why don't
Because-
you wait until they're rescued or adopted out before you spend any money on them?
Well, because it states in our animal shelter policy that we just adopted, that any kitten that comes through our shelter is to be neutered, spayed, and vaccinated.
But does it say what time span?
I mean,
Why couldn't
there
they
there was
be
no, so we don't have any
spayed?
rules for cats. That's the whole thing. With the new shelter coming in, and we're gonna be doing cats, whereas we haven't done it, there's no policies on cats. I mean, it just says in our policy that all dogs and cats, it lists both of them, are
Well,
to
here's
be
the deal
fixed
too,
and
so
vaccinated.
it goes both ways. If they wait till they get adopted, then spay and neuter them, I assume you're probably gonna have to hold them a couple days after it's done, so you're gonna have to pay to feed them that many days.
And, well, that's the thing too, is if somebody walks in our shelter and they say, you know, Susie walks in and she wants to adopt a dog, and she's ready to adopt a dog. If I say, okay, you like that dog there, but it's not scheduled to be fixed for 2 weeks because it's got an appointment in 2 weeks, she's gonna say, okay, she's gonna go Shelby County, Nelson, Bullitt, where she can get her dog fully vetted right then and there same day. I mean, there's people that walk in and they wanna adopt a dog, they don't wanna sit there and, that you lose that adopter, and then that dog, you know, we've got a dog over now, she's been there for 8 months. And she's had multiple people walk in, great dog, loves everybody.
Is your,
I mean, it's just,
is your adoption fee that you're taking covering what you're spending on it? You getting ready for adoption?
no.
Didn't we raise
There's-
the
there's
adoption?
no-
That's all it is.
Yeah.
We raised it, me and Dan and all of us.
We raised it to
had a meeting and worked on
75.
policy.
It was at 50.
I mean, what's it cost to get a kitten spayed and neutered and vaccinated?
I mean,
I don't know.
With the discount, it's around, I think it's around $120. And we did talk about the kittens and the puppies under like 4 months or something, maybe their adoption fee could be $100, but we never revisited that.
So, do we have a way to take credit cards now?
No, we do not.
We still haven't.
I haven't even got internet. I ain't had internet for 2 days.
Well, I mean, but that's
But no.
because of the storm, but, I mean, that is such a simple process.
Well, anybody that we set up an appointment with as well, we let them know ahead of time, hey, you know, the bank's right here, if you wanna run through the ATM, we'll
Yeah,
take
but I
cash or
mean,
check.
that's an inconvenience, that, I don't understand why we don't have a credit card machine in
Yeah,
the
well, it's,
animal
yeah,
control.
I wanna.
I mean, and that's not your fault, that's our fault.
We're out of the weeds especially.
Yeah, I want to, yeah, we're getting out of the, we need to focus on invoices here only. And I will suggest that, do you have a specific invoice or anything that you wanted to
So
address?
I don't have any, I know the question on one of the last meetings was, for, the dog that was named Bat, he was blind. He came in blind, and that dog's adoption fee was sponsored, and his owner drove from New Hampshire, picked him up and adopted him. So even if they come in, we have over 50% of the animals come in, need something extra. So our invoices and our policy goes by, basic routine care, which includes exam, spay and neuter, and shots. That's basic care. But 50% of the dogs that come in, they got an ear infection, one needs an antibiotic, one has to have an ablation, tumor removal. So there are those things that we have to approve under that $500 threshold that we had spoken with, that are gonna be on these invoices.
All right, hold on right there, Victoria. We need to stop right here, because we're only discussing invoices, bills, and transfers. when we get into animal policy, we can do that. What I'd like us to do, after we get our center open, we need to discuss the credit card machine and those kind of things. We can address the policies there.
Yeah, and one of the policies, even though we're talking about invoices, when we get into the new shelter, all these cats basically seems is where the money's going. Well, I think your office needs to, whenever you pick up a cat or a litter of them, if they're in the city limits, you make sure that is noted, and we'll send the invoice to the city.
I think we need to make sure that we're documenting what city people.
Yeah, well, let's stop right here. We need to do that in a regular meeting.
But as far as the invoices go, you know, I just wanted to let y'all know that we do have a kind of a plan in place where we're trying to work with Elk Creek now. Now that each individual dog has their own invoice number, I think that it's gonna be a whole lot easier to be able to see the discounts fall off of each individual invoice and how much it is.
Okay, all
I
right,
think
that's
discounts,
good.
we just don't know what the hell we're looking
That
at.
covers it.
The old ones are,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean,
I'd just like for you to come back and get on the agenda so we can discuss what we
Yeah,
can't discuss right.
right. Something other than the
yeah,
invoices.
no, we will,
All right.
the next
Question.
All right, yeah, all right. Thank you, Victoria. That's it. All right. So, all right, at this moment, I'll entertain a motion to approve the invoices, bills, and transfers.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Zach, seconded by Will to approve the invoices, bills, and transfers. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. We will now go into, make a motion that we go into executive session as per KRS 810, letter F, which is discussions or hearings might lead to appointment, discipline, or dismissal of employee.
Second.
All right, motion by myself, second by Mike to go into executive session. This is available on amendable. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. We'll just stay in here and everybody can go.
You're gonna go.